Here we go, back at it again, getting you going for the weekend here on Horse Race Bets after a very eventful Labor Day weekend. We had about what? I don't know, 12 picks. We had about 3 scratches. We had, I do believe, 4 or 5 winners, and they were all pretty chalky. Only chance we had at a price was Simply in Front, running at Kentucky Downs, who ended up running second at about 17 to 1. Disarm ran horribly in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Should have gone with Antiquarian because I know Johnny V is just way better than everybody else. Isn't that crazy? That dude's in his 50s and he is schooling these kids all day, every day. I should have made a ton of money this weekend. I messed that up like an idiot. Paco got Paco'd on the West Coast. Paco Lopez is trouble no matter where that dude goes. Anyone who thought that horse shouldn't have been disqualified for Mortorius is crazy. That horse, he took out like 4 horses. What are you guys talking about? Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to the next weekend because, oh my goodness. This weekend at Kentucky Downs, another chance for ridiculous value. Even though we have this weird phenomenon happening this weekend where numerous horses are coming back on 7 days rest. Woo! So fine. Let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the $2 million Grade 3 Ladies Marathon Saturday at Kentucky Downs. Mile and 5/16 on the turf, 11 runners. We've got a couple of that are cross-entered. So No Mo Candy's also entered to run on Thursday, which is most likely where she will be. But the rest of your field includes some really interesting. Hey, also Stellify, the 6. 6 is turning back coming right back, after 7 days. So it's going to be interesting to see, and you got to trust the trainers. They know that their horse can handle it, and the way that some of these horses have handled the course over the recent outings, like Stellify, means they shouldn't really have a problem. However, in this situation, I'm going to go with a runner that's not turning back or running back on 7 days rest, but has had about roughly a month to come back, and I think would be in good form to make some things happen. And they do have experience over the course. Duvet Day. Hey, mama, there go that man again. Johnny V is incredible. Man, I've only been watching racing for 25 years. But, man, Johnny V might be the best jockey I have ever seen. Ever. Now, we can all have these things that we say, and it's all personal, right? All bettors are like, well, I love Calvin Burrell because he made me money. Okay, sure, I understand that. But even if the jockey didn't make you money, watching them ride, like, man, Johnny V is just, he might be the greatest jockey ever. I don't understand. The difference that he makes is ridiculous. Anyway, he's going to have a chance to bring in a price with Duvet Day. I like what the horse did in the past running on Kentucky Downs surface. It was not a good performance, but I just want you to have the experience over the course, and they went 2+ miles that day. They're going to get a break in terms of distance here. I think the horse is going to be able to close like an absolute freak, and I believe they should be able to take to the undulating course. We'll get value on Duvet Day. I'll take that runner in the Ladies Marathon Saturday at Kentucky Downs. Johnny V gonna ride the 7, Duvet Day. All right, moving on. Next race is the Grade 3 Mint Millions Invitational. This one 1 mile over the turf Saturday at Kentucky Downs. 13 runners entered. We have another runner coming right back. Our winner that we had over the weekend, Laganos, I forgot how to say the name, is the winner from a race just a week ago. Extremely impressive, like much the best. Crushed that field of runners, and so coming right back because that probably didn't take a tremendous amount out of him and handled the course so easily that you'd have to think, okay, well, there's nothing wrong with coming right back. I'm not going to play the horse coming right back, although we'll probably get value because most players won't bet this runner in this race. Plus, you've got some really good runners in here. Brilliant Birdie, going to be tough to deal with. I even thought about Spirit of St. Louis, my selection a couple of weeks back, and I was like, I don't really think so. Air Recruit has that speed, so they're going to be dangerous out there, but I wanted to take a chance, and when I mean taking a chance, I'm saying I'm looking for value, and I'm looking for a horse that has plenty of room to improve, and they've shown me in the past they can handle this. So we're going a mile on the turf, and I like Cairo. And I think Ben Curtis, we've talked about this before, I think is a really talented young rider, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time before he officially breaks on through. But what I like about Cairo is Running obviously on the European courses, I believe, gives you an advantage because Kentucky Downs is very similar to the undulated courses throughout Europe. I like those performances, but I think that turning back in distance is the best bet. And if you look at what this runner did in the Queen Anne there at Royal Ascot, June 17th, I like that performance. It was absolutely flying through the stretch, ends up third that particular day. Then they come here and go a mile and a quarter at Colonial in the Arlington Million, and it was kind of an even performance. They kind of flattened out there in the end, but I think now, coming back, another race to get some fitness, right? Another race here now coming up in the States, undulating course that's probably more what he is used to. And I just think that Ben Curtis knows this horse now. They're going to get something to run at, and I think they'll be flying in the stretch, and we'll just find out if they're good enough. And if they are, we're fitting to get paid with Cairo at a decent price there in the Grade 3 Mint Millions Invitational Saturday at Kentucky Downs. Also coming up Saturday, the $2 million Gun Runner Stakes, also at a mile on the turf. 14 runners entered here. You'll get, because I always get rid of the two alsos. That's why I only say 14, even though you get 16 in there. I never really worry about the alsos. Take a look at what's happening here in this field. So we've got runners that we have seen before. Giacoso is going to be tough. There's a Ben Curtis on that runner there. But in this particular race, you know, Clever again is a horse we've seen, right? We've seen a lot of these horses before. Even Yinzer on the also list has some speed, and that could be dangerous. Going a mile, we talk about two things that we want in our runners at Kentucky Downs. One, either experience over the course or some European running or European breeding, is combination of the two, right? The breeding and the running in Europe over the undulated courses. It's kind of the reason why Frankie Dettori is leading rider right now at Kentucky Downs. Maybe his familiarity with those types of courses gives him a slight advantage. New Century is the runner that we like quite a bit in here. And the reason why is the turn back in distance. So take a look at what they did to start the career. 7 furlongs, 7 furlongs, a mile, a mile, a mile. All really nice performances, right? And it's always tough to come over and win the Breeders' Cup, especially as a juvenile. But they had a nice performance, just couldn't win, but I like the run, right? Then they come back, go back to Newmarket. They run the mile there. Even performance coming off of a long layoff. Then they come back to the States. Mile and a 16th in the American turf at Churchill. Okay, not a bad performance. Mile and an 8th in the Belmont Derby. Okay, not bad. Mile and 3/16 in the Saratoga Derby. Okay, not bad. But what I'm liking is two things. Blinkers on, turn back in distance. The shorter is the better option for New Century. So now turning back to the mile, I think that's going to be perfect for this runner. And Irad Ortiz, thankfully, he avoided serious injury over the weekend when his horse mind frame had a serious problem coming out of the gate. That problem was probably caused by Kendrick Carmouche and Phileas Fogg. That was crazy. So Phileas Fogg, Kendrick Carmouche, and Paco Lopez doing crazy stuff this weekend. Luckily, nobody was injured in those situations. So Irad Ortiz is going to be there, and I think New Century will get the perfect setup, and I think Irad is hungry to win. I think New Century scores in the $2 million Gun Runner Stakes. That is Saturday at Kentucky Downs. So that's 3 big races coming up. We'll talk about 3 more big races on that card coming up tomorrow. But now we settle in to check in on our Thursday play of the day. The Thursday play of the day will also come from Kentucky Downs as they begin their week of racing. They go Thursday, take Friday off, come back gangbusters on Saturday and Sunday. So the thing we want to focus in on is the One Dreamer Stakes worth $500,000 coming up. That's going to be the first feature of the week from Kentucky Downs. Let's take a look at the runners, right? Because in this situation, we feel like, okay, it's an interesting field, and it's also where the horse we talked about before is going to be running. So we mentioned how No Mo Candy was entered into the Ladies Marathon, that Grade 3 Ladies Marathon coming up on Saturday, but we think that she's more likely to run here in the One Dreamer Stakes. She's got the speed to be able to control. The 9 to the outside also has some speed. And then we have runners that I think will be sitting close. Like Waves of Mischief, I think, will be sitting close. And here's the thing. I really believe the 2 is going to be sitting a little bit closer. And that's where I'm going to go. I think that horse is a massive price and has a great chance. And take a look at what I'm working with. Buttercream Babe at 15-1. Michael Maker, second off the layoff. Luis Saez in the irons. Luis Saez has not quite had the success that he was looking for thus far at Kentucky Downs, but I believe he gets it going this week. This horse has already scored, and I like the fact that they've shown some versatility as they've gotten older. That's natural. They showed speed winning that debut there at Kentucky Downs. That's not easy to do, man. Going 6.5 furlongs there in a field of 11. And then they came right back and ran in the Untappable. Okay, not a bad performance. They're running third in that field of 11. And then they moved on from there, right, to the West Coast. The Surfer Girl Breeders' Cup thing did not work out. A couple of runs there at Gulfstream Park. Finally got it together going a mile at Saratoga. Coming off the layoff, and Luis Saez is in the irons. Then they switch up Indiana, at that time, Horseshoe, Indianapolis, right? At that time, then they doing some things going a mile, 6.5, a mile, a mile, a mile, a mile. I think the mile distance is perfect. They're going to go a mile 70 here, but that's okay. And I just think second off the layoff, I think the closing kick is nice, but what I like, I think the horse has the ability to be a little bit closer to the pace. I don't think this horse can run them down from too far back. And being, in that stalking, pressing position is what Luis Saez does the best, in my opinion. He's awesome on the front end, too, but I think he's great when he just can sit just off, and then he gets the jump on those closers. Buttercream Babe does that, and we get crazy value, 15-1, in our play of the day on Thursday at Kentucky Downs. And that's how we get things started. Woohoo! So there you go. Chance to get some value again as we get things going on Thursdays. We take a look at what's happening with the big races coming up on Saturday. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, it's going to do it for us here on Horse Race Bets. I'm Ken Rudulph. We'll see you next time, and good luck and enjoy whatever you're into.